It does indeed sound like the opening chapter of a fictional Russian spy novel, but as you mentioned, this is very real and it could have some very serious diplomatic overtones. What we know is that this man, Sergei Skripal, 66 years old, is found Sunday around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, along with a woman in her 30s, in the town center of Salisbury, about 90 miles southwest of London. They are rushed to hospital, and then very quickly the mystery begins to deepen because the hospital is sealed off. And we understand, as the police now are also going to be holding a news conference now in Salisbury, and that's the beginning of it. What we understand is that he is, after the emergency room has been sealed off, decontamination takes place. And Skripal is identified as a double agent. He was sentenced to 13 years in prison in Russia for spying for MI6. Apparently, he had identified some Russians who were spying in Europe and spying in England. And then about 4 years later, in 2010, after he was sentenced in 2006, he is released in a very high-profile prisoner swap with 10 Russians, sleeper agents in America who had also been detained by the U.S. authorities. They were exchanged for Skripal and several other people. Skripal presumably is relocated to England. He is put in Salisbury, perhaps had a different name. We don't know. That needs to be confirmed by the authorities. And suddenly he turns up now on the weekend with some kind of poisoning, possibly some kind of mysterious substance. He is in the hospital. The woman is in the hospital, and the authorities are trying to identify that substance, Jamie. So it is a deepening mystery here.
Now, as you say, there's still lots we don't know here, but if indeed he has been poisoned, there are echoes, aren't there, of another spy being poisoned, I think in London in 2006.
And I think that's why the alarm bells are ringing so loudly right now, because it sounds so similar to the case of Alexander Litvinenko, who is poisoned with polonium-210, a radioactive material by 2 Russians who transported here. Andrei Lugovoy and Dmitry Kovtun are later accused of that, and there was a long trail of polonium leading from Russia to here and back to Russia again. And Litvinenko on his deathbed accuses President Putin of being behind his murder, and indeed a inquiry later on from England and from the United Kingdom says that probably Putin approved the killing of Litvinenko. So the big question is, was this guy poisoned? Is it payback by Russia? And I think it's going to take some time now for the details to emerge exactly what he was poisoned with, if indeed it is a poisoning and we can call it that or not.